Now that we are officially a week into the brand new season, we've seen a bunch of scrims, we've seen a couple different tournaments. I think this is the perfect time to bring back Peterbot's Peak, the series where we rank the current top 10 trios in the world. Every single season, the list gets reset. And then as tournaments slowly progress throughout the season, teams will be moving up the mountain, moving down the mountain. By the end of the season, we will see who is ultimately at the top. Real quick before we get into this video though, please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. Remember to follow my Twitch, linked in the description down below. I'm going to hopefully start streaming by the time Divisional Cups are actually starting. You'll also see the link to my brand new React channel in there as well. Hopefully I'm going to be able to start like daily uploading on that channel also. Without further ado though, let's get straight into this video and talk about the teams that are currently not on the mountain. The beginning of the season ones are always the hardest to do since we haven't seen a lot of these brand new trios even play an official tournament yet. Let's start off going from right to left though, starting off with the team of Shark, Chap, and Kiduo. Now these guys are the trio I've been calling the experiment trio. Raz is trying to get 2 insane fraggers and then Kiduo and take them to the promised land. They looked very good in a couple of the scrims games that they played, but they also were not able to qualify to the finals of the Eval Cup. So it is kind of hard to give them like an exact ranking right now. I think this trio at their very peak could be a top 5 trio on EU. But like I have been saying, not every experiment ends up working, and these guys could end up splitting up before they get an actual good tournament placement. Next up, let's talk about the trio of Mr. Savage, UPL, and Panzer. Now, Savage and Panzer are coming off of an 8th place in grand finals with Mongrel. Obviously, we know all of the drama where they have decided to split up with Mongrel now for UPL. The only tournament that they have played together so far, they were able to win game 1 of the Eval Cup. I think this will 100% be a top 10 trio, maybe by week 2 of tournaments actually starting, but I just have to see a little bit more from them before I really give them that top 10 trio respect, especially just because I don't know that much about UPL in general, but I am very excited to see what they can do. Next up, we have a team that I was so high on all last season of Seti, Hari, and Camy. The truth of the matter is they are just going to majorly disappoint anytime they are contested. They have literally decided to go a weaker drop spot now just so that they don't get contested anymore, because they know themselves that whenever they are conned, their whole tournament is just basically over. If they're able to be uncontested at a good drop spot, this is a top 3 trio on EU, but after their grand finals performance, I really just can't show them top 10 trio in the world respect yet. And then the final trio I have here is Tayson, Chicho, and Trulex. Now these guys finished, I'm pretty sure, like 7th place in grand finals. They had a very disappointing day 1 and they were able to bring it back a bit more in day 2. The thing about this trio though, especially after their grand finals placement, this team is literally made for a lobby like that. Like, you have 2 of the best search players in Chicho and Trulex, and then Tayson, who is an arguable top 3 player of all time, and they're not even able to get top 5 on their own region. They also weren't able to qualify for the recent Eval Cup. I'm not trying to put like too much weight into that actual Eval Cup, but I just haven't seen them in a set lobby finals yet this season. But also, as I have been saying, since this is more of a grand finals team, they are not necessarily built that well for cash cups. Even last season in the cash cups that they did play, they were placing like 5th place, 6th place, things like that. They just don't have as crazy fighting power as some of the other top trios on EU that are going to consistently place highly in cash cups. I hope that this trio is able to prove me wrong, but they have been kind of on the downhill slope recently. Now starting off with in 10th place, I hope these guys don't disappoint me, but it is the trio of Yapko, Bolts, and Rapid. Now we have seen Bolts, Rapid, and Yapko play so many different scrim sessions together already. They weren't able to make the finals of the Eval Cup, unfortunately. This is definitely going to be one of my highest projection ranking teams on this whole entire mountain. I have been saying this in a lot of videos now though, but if Bolts is really going to be fully locked in for this season, fully grinding and everything like that, I think he is going to be in top 3 players in NA discussions by the end of the season. I think Bolts is literally like a top 5 talent in the entire world. If he is going to put the meme coins down and pick up the keyboard again, I think this trio has the potential to be very scary. Yapko gets talked about like he's one of the best fighters in the entire planet. Yapko has been getting talked about like he is one of the best fighters on the entire planet ever since he moved to NA. And Rapid has always had the reputation of being a super good fighting IGL. I think when it comes to actual grand finals time, this is a real trio that could rival Peterbot's trio in terms of elims. This is definitely the trio that has the highest potential to either rise up the mountain or just completely fall off it in general. And I am very curious to see how this season is actually going to go for them. 9th place is the underrated goats of Pix, Darm, and Demus. Now these guys have literally just recently made their first ever grand finals, all three of them in their first ever grands, and they placed 5th place in it. We also saw these guys literally win a trio cash cup last season. I said this in my grand finals video, but these guys are truly the future of EU competitive. Dharma and Demas have been playing together since duos was a thing, and then they picked up picks and already are placing top 5 in grands. There is just so much potential here for this trio, and if you guys don't see it, you are kind of just blind. Now in 8th place is the trio that pump faked their move to EU and are staying on NA this season of Cooper, Vadeal, and Sphinx. Now if you guys aren't caught up on this whole situation, basically Cooper, Vadeal, and Sphinx were supposed to move over to EU, and like they were 100% like planning on doing it and everything, and then the news came out about Acorn and Ritual not signing the disband forms to give up their LAN qualifying spot. So that means that Cooper, Vadeal, and Sphinx still need to be able to qualify for LAN, so they're deciding to stay on NA, which I think is 100% a smart decision for this team. These guys finished 4th place in the very last grand finals that we just had, which I don't want to necessarily say was a disappointment, but these guys were pretty much the consensus second best team on NA going into grand finals. So dropping from 2 to 4 is definitely a bit of a letdown. I wouldn't be too surprised if these guys started off the season a little bit slow, especially since Vadeal is literally still in EU right now. So these guys haven't been able to like grind really any of the new like meta scrims with each other or anything. They played the Eval Cup together, and I'm not gonna lie, they placed horribly in it, but Vadeal once again was playing from EU ping. So hopefully these guys are able to get their footing together still, and they're all going to be full grinding. The final trio on this row is a team that I have literally loved ever since they formed together of Marius, Pixie, and Vanyak. I had these guys as a top 3 trio in EU going into FNCS. They had to go through the trials and tribulations of the last chance qualifiers, were able to make it into grand finals and finished 3rd place in it. You guys can definitely argue that they should be higher up on this list, and I think I will be putting them higher up in the future, but as of right now, there is just a couple of other teams that I feel like I just have to give the respect of putting them over. This is still an absolutely crazy trio at the end of the day. You have Marius and Pixie, who are just absolutely insane fighters, and then Vanyak, who's one of the best IGLs in EU. I think this team will consistently place top 5 throughout the entire season. I wouldn't even be surprised if they won a couple of cash cups as well. I still have super high hopes for them going into this season. Moving on to the next row though, I just have to give these guys respect. They literally finished 1st and 2nd place in grand finals. It is of course the trio of Ritual, Acorn, and Agers. Now Agers is a current top 3 player on NA. Acorn is arguably the best IGL in all of NA, and then Ritual is now going to be playing that Pollo role where he's going to be like support fragging to Agers. I think a lot of people are kind of underestimating this team right now. I think they will still be very good on NA. They weren't able to qualify for the only tournament of the season so far, but they have looked super crazy in scrims. I think in actual set lobby finals, they will be a very scary team. Any trio that has 2 super smart players like Acorn and Ritual on it are going to be able to make it pretty deep into endgame a lot of the times. It's just whether or not they're able to get the refreshes to keep them in it. Is this going to be a trio that is going to be able to compete for an FNCS championship this season? They all seem very motivated right now, so I would say potentially. It's going to be very hard for them to keep up with the fragging ability of some other teams on the region, but I do still think they are a super good trio. Going into the top 5 now, starting off with in 5th place is the trio of Clicks, Iamzo, and Higs. Now Clicks of course is coming off of his best ever grand finals placement, finishing in 3rd place. They also are just absolute Eval Cup warriors, winning 2 games in the most recent Eval Cup. This team has shown that they can be top 3 in elims in a grand finals, and at the end of the day, that is the main thing that you're going to need to be able to do if you want to compete for that championship. This is always going to be a super consistent trio. I think they do have real potential to pull off a top 2 in grand finals. I am very excited to see how they do in cash cups. I really just want to see these guys absolute frag out. Now the final trio we're going to go over before we get into the top 3 is in 4th place of Ping, Walks, and Malibuca. They are of course the land qualifiers, the team that just got 2nd place in EU grand finals. This trio really just slowly improved together over the course of time. Ping, Walks, and Malibuca all absolutely do put in that work, but I still do not believe they are the 2nd best team on EU because of the team I have in 3rd place. We are finally at the very top of the mountain now, the top 3 trios in the world. Starting off with in 3rd place, I have the trio of Quezy, Swizzy, and Merstash. Now the reason why they are in 3rd place for me, these guys finished in 4th place in FNCS grand finals while being contested. They were by far the highest placing contested team in grand finals over EU or NA. I do still believe that Quezy is the best IGL in the entire region. Swizzy and Merstash are some of the best fraggers in the entire world as well, and if they are able to get an uncon seaport city, which which is arguably a top 3 drop spot in the entire map, then this trio is going to have all of the recipes to cook up a successful season. I have already seen a lot of people even say themselves that this trio is already better than Vico, Vino, and Flixie, and that is definitely a question that we are going to be asking throughout the season. I feel like I think that this team has the real potential to win a couple of cash cups, but in grand finals is where I know these guys are 100% going to shine. Now, second place is by far the highest ranking brand new trio I have, but why else would they not be here? Of course, it is the team of Peterbot, Cold, and Pollo. Now, the only reason why they are not in first place is obviously we haven't seen them play any like real tournaments together. We saw them play the eval and they were able to win 2 out of the 4 games, and they did look absolutely insane, and I will not take that away from them, but we still have to see the question on whether or not Peterbot can actually IGL like a stacked finals lobby. So far in things like scrims and even the eval cup, if we want to talk about that again, he hasn't really given us any indication that he can't, but that is just mainly the only reason why I don't have them on the top of the mountain. When you have 3 players that are the caliber of each of these guys, where you have Peterbot, who is arguably the best fighter in the entire world, literally being the IGL, and then you have Cold, who people know how crazy he is, and then Pollo, who will literally fit onto any trio. I think it is about to be really scary hours for the rest of the NA region, and especially during things like cash cups, I really wouldn't be surprised if they ended up going maybe like 3 out of 5 total cash cup wins. At the top though, you just have to give them the respect of winning EU FNCS Grand Finals, the trio of Vico, Vino, and Flixie. They won multiple cash cups last season. They already have the chemistry together. They have already proven that they are the best trio on EU. I think there is going to be a lot of teams though that really do make a good case for being the best trio in the world throughout this season, and I think this is going to be one of the most fun seasons for Peterbot's peak. So remember, if you guys are new to the channel and you're excited to keep up with this throughout the season, remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. If you guys want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. YouTube says there's one of these videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter at ChiliKDOG to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.